Hello everybody. So I thought I would do a little short couple of series of frequently asked questions just to make sure that we are pretty clear on everything that we need to do. So for today's round, it's about COVID. Gosh, who would have thought, hey? So a couple of things that have come in with emails, and I want to say a huge thank you to every single parent out there who continuously keep us updated, whether they've been in contact with someone who's been tested positive, the possibility of having been in contact with someone who was in contact with someone who is positive. Thank you for keeping us informed with everything. So just to be sure, I see on the recent parent survey that the school company had sent out, we had a couple of queries around how we deal with COVID cases at the school. So just to let you know, we follow the Dubai Health Authority and the KHDA guidelines. It is not a rule that the school makes. It is a rule that we have to follow as given by government official bodies. So if we have a student on campus and they are, for example, as tested as positive, the things that we have to do is make sure when last they were on campus, since their test result or symptoms have started to be shown, we then send that information to Dubai Health Authority, and Dubai Health Authority then tells us what the next steps are. It is not for us to make that decision. Now, when it comes to saying and making it public, we may not give out the name of the person who has been tested positive, whether that be a teacher on campus or whether that be a student. That is the sole right of the family to decide whether they wish to disclose that information. We may not at all. So we have a letter that is being given by the Dubai Health Authority that we have to send. We don't even write the letter. We just fill in the necessary information, as in date, as in the school and the grade that it has impacted or the class that it has impacted. We don't even mention whether it is male or female. This is all given to us directly by the Dubai Health Authority. So if, for example, we had a case, we then first do contact tracing. That's specifically for our grades 1 through to 5 and, of course, in our secondary school. And those people who were in close contact with the student are then contacted. It is not required for us to let the whole class know, but KHDA has given permission for us to let the whole class know if someone has been tested positive. In our early years, in pre-K, KG1 and KG2, that's a bit of a different setup because the students come to school without a mask on and they operate in bubbles. And that means every child in that class is then considered a close contact. So the date from when we start quarantining, for example, whether that be for individuals or whether that be for the class, is set by the Dubai Health Authority, and the return date of students or teachers or classes is given to us by the Dubai Health Authority. It is not for us to make a public announcement to the whole school as to whether we've had a case or not. I trust that that part you'll understand, as we are just following government protocol. And I think they supposedly have also done this just to ensure we don't create unnecessary panic amongst our community. We know it's going to happen. We know it will happen. It has happened. This is going to be with us for a while, and we've just got to be sure that we manage it properly. And so far, I want to say thank you to each and every single one of you who have done exactly that. Beyond impressed with our parent community. The next thing that I want to do is just to make sure that if you have been absent for 3 days, we are going to need a clearance certificate. Again, this is not a rule of DIA. This is a Dubai Health Authority request. It's the same as if you are traveling. It's not a DIA rule. It is a Dubai Health Authority that you need to fill in that travel declaration form. For any student who's been sick, whether they've been quarantining due to the fact that they've been in contact with someone who's been tested positive, or they themselves have tested positive, before coming to school, our school clinic will give you a call just to make sure that everything is in place. You will need evidence, and of course the evidence depends on whether you are a close contact or you are recovering from COVID, etc. And that will be directed to you by our school clinic, is to pop in the morning of your return date just to have a check-in with them, and they will give you the go-ahead. Fill in the necessary forms that we do every single day. We have to fill in data for the Dubai Health Authority and KHDA as to how many students are on campus, who is face-to-face, who's doing distance learning, who is returning from quarantining, who has started quarantining, and the list goes on. You can imagine the fun and games. And that brings me to the next point. This is why it is so important that we get the message clear that you can't be fluttering in between face-to-face and distance learning. It's a lot of things for us to be able to keep track of. But this is also the request from official bodies, that there are only two main reasons why you would move from face-to-face learning into distance learning. Number one being the government has said that that is what needs to be done, or number two, you are quarantining. Travel purposes, just being sick for a day or two does not constitute us to move you to distance learning. All right, I hope you understand that. I think pretty much most of you have, well, not most of you, all have access to Toddle, so you can see what learning is taking place. If your child is sick or just sick, let them recuperate that day or two at home. Don't feel that they now suddenly have to go to distance learning. And I know that it can be a bit of a stressful situation when you've heard that you might have to go and get your child tested. And so you're sending emails of they are getting tested and you'll wait for the results, so move them to distance learning. And then 3 hours later at midnight, I get an email saying, well, no, the test results have just come in, it's negative, so it's all okay. Don't worry too much. Just keep us informed and know for sure, as it's not in our, I want to say, job description to be on duty 24/7, but we are. That we are innately doing that as part of our profession. So we will respond to those emails that require response when it's after working hours and when it's during a weekend, or when it was like during the long weekend. Gosh, the amount of emails I received requesting for students to return back on the 25th of October, which was great to be able to have, but it was the long weekend. Those emails will be replied to. If you don't get a response for us, it means we either have to get the information on the next day when we are physically in work, or get approval, etc., or it's not something that needed to be answered at 10 o'clock at night. And I'm sure you'll be able to understand and support that our teachers have families as well, and they need to make sure that they spend the time with them, not glued to their devices. And in the same breath, again, I'm going to say thank you for always keeping us informed. So again, we will respond. If it's after school hours, we will respond to messages that require that urgent response. All right, if you don't hear from us, then you know it is something that can be dealt with the following day. All right, so just making sure that you realize you can't be swapping between distance learning and face-to-face just randomly. We need to know about it in advance. You need to send an email to me if you are requesting coming back from distance learning back into the school. We can't wait to have you here. And there's been a number of you that have returned after the 25th of October. And again, we've got another batch coming in on the 1st of November of students who've made the move from distance learning to face-to-face. And for those of you that are still at home doing distance learning, we understand. We understand your situation. And I know you are supportive of how we, our staff, are balancing both of those, the face-to-face and the distance learners, because now we are close to 95% of our students being on campus. So supporting as best as we can. So keep it up, moms and dads. You're doing a great job. To our teachers, awesome job for keeping sane in this world through as we go through everything. And thank you, moms and dads, for the smiles, the waves, boys and girls, to you for your greetings every morning and in the afternoon. And again, thank you for being a super community and keeping us informed. And I hope that these little frequently answered question sessions will be able to help you better understand how we operate here at our school, based not just on our guidelines, but the official ones given by the authorities of the UAE and Dubai. All right, thank you.